What is good, YouTube? It's your boy, OG Nomboy, back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing a team that I used last season to hit Legend, and my ELO's kind of been in the gutter lately since I haven't been too good at the Evolution Cup, and I was also trying out a bunch of different teams for that to try to make some content. So I kind of went back to the old trusty team to help me get some wins and climb some ELO again. And this team was kind of popularized by Home Slice Henry and to an extent Rise to Occasion as well. So you know, if those two are playing this team's got to be pretty solid. And it also has 2 XL Pokemon, so you can never go wrong there. But yeah, I was able to gain back around 180 ELO over the course of 4 sets with this team. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into these matches. So first match here, we have the Medicham into a Trevenant, which isn't a very good lead for us, like we hard lose that. So we swap into our Diggersby since it's kind of like our soft answer for Trevenant compared to the Noctowl, which just hard walls it. Because you're going to expect your opponent to eventually switch out of this matchup here. But normally, like if you're facing a Trevenant in the lead and you have a Diggersby, you outpace them to your Fire Punches since it takes like 5 turns for their, or 5 Shadow Claws for their Seed Bomb, and it takes 5 and then 4 for your Fire Punch. But since we swapped in and we're like a turn behind, they're going to be able to CMP us on the Seed Bombs here, and they catch their the Fire Punch on their Licky Tongue. And this is okay since we kind of want our Medicham on this anyway, since it's not going to be very good against the Trevenant. And we're just going to go ahead and throw the Psychic and see what the opponent wants to do. And they let it go, which is alright for us. And at this point, they're going to bring the Trevenant back in after waiting out the switch timer. And I'm just going to go let this Medicham like die, I guess. But as you're going to see here, kind of a questionable play since I didn't really have a read on the team, so I didn't know there would be a Bastiodon in the back. And at this point, if they shield my Earthquake, like we're in a pretty sticky situation. And for some reason here, I decide to bait, like thinking they'd shield, but they didn't shield. And if I just gone for the Earthquake, I would have won that. But because they didn't shield and I baited, even though I only got to 1 move anyways, like I ended up losing that match. So kind of tough loss. Like I kind of threw that, but the opponent also like kind of threw that game too, because if I had landed the Earthquake, then I would have won, and there was no reason for them to not shield that move there. But next match, what was the lead? Stunfisk, I think, and we swap into our Noctowl after they swap in their Venusaur. And alignment isn't terribly important here since both our Medicham and our Diggersby do very well against the Stunfisk in the front. But if we let our Noctowl go down here, then the Venusaur is still in a pretty awkward health range for our other 2 Pokemon to take it out. And here I decide that I'm going to switch in my Medicham to see what else is in the back, just in case I need to save my Noctowl to take whatever like is in the back. But it ends up being a Sableye, and that should basically be a GG's for us since these Ice Punches are still chunking, and we still have our Noctowl to help take this Sableye out, and we'll have our Diggersby on the Galarian Stunfisk. And the Diggersby can tank 2 of the Galarian Stunfisk's Earthquakes pretty comfortably. So we're in a really good position here, and we don't have to bait at all. Like we can just go straight Earthquake here, since we should be able to tank these moves pretty comfortably and make it to our Earthquakes in time. And we still have a shield too, so even if we end up shielding a Rock Slide, like they just don't have enough time to get to enough moves to take out our Diggersby. So I'm going to shield this move up here, but it ends up being a Rock Slide. But XL Diggersby super thick, and we're going to be able to comfortably tank this Earthquake here, and we'll get our Earthquake off, and that should basically be the match. Like they still have their Sableye in the back, but a couple of mud shots and we'll be fine. So GG's to that opponent. Next match we have the the Medicham into another Stunfisk, and here they bring in their Medicham, and the Medicham versus Noctowl isn't super comfortable. Like if they invest enough shields, they can flip this matchup, and that's fine by me because both our back Pokemon do well against the Galarian Stunfisk in the front. So as long as I'm able to get a shield advantage here, like I'm okay with giving up Switch. So I throw my second Sky attack, and the opponent decides to shield that. So I'm just going to let my Noctowl go down, and I'm going to bring my Medicham back into this. Since I don't want to be taking the counters on my Diggersby. So they get a Psychic off, but it's not a big deal. I probably should have overfarmed a little bit more here, like gotten a couple counters off, but that's okay. They bring in the Trevenant, and at this point, our Diggersby up 2 shields should be able to 2v1 these back 2 Pokemon. And I'm trying to like hold my energy and throw at an unpredictable time so they don't end up catching on their Stunfisk, but they kind of just blind swapped and got a little lucky and caught the move. But it doesn't really matter because as you're going to see here, I needed the Fire Punch and this Earthquake to take this Stunfisk out. And once again, I'm going to be playing a bit like a noob here, and I'm going to shield a Rock Slide since I wasn't counting, but it doesn't really matter because at this point, we're still going to be able to get to 2 Fire Punches before this Trevenant is able to take us out. So we let that Seed Bomb through, and then we get to our Fire Punch, and even if they got to another one, we still have a shield, and our next Fire Punch is going to take out the Trevenant. So pretty good position to be there, and sometimes you got to know like when to try to maintain alignment or when you should like give up Switch, and that was kind of a good example of that. Next match we have the Alolan Ninetales in the front, so our Medicham definitely doesn't like this, so I swap into my Diggersby, and you need 1 Fire Punch and 1 Earthquake to take this thing out. And I'm going to go ahead and shield this since it would do a lot of damage to the Diggersby. And they're staying in here, which is pretty interesting to me. So I throw the Earthquake here, hoping they don't shield, and they actually let it go. So we're in a pretty dominant position now. So they bring in a Sableye, and this is perfect for us since we were able to win the matchup against the Alolan Ninetales. So our Medicham is going to be able to avoid this Sableye, which is ideal for us. And we're going to bring our Noctowl into the Sableye. And after I do that, the opponent decides that they've had enough and they leave the match. So I'm predicting that they probably had a Trevenant in the back, like the Alolan Ninetales and Double Ghost line, which I haven't really seen before, but it's a pretty interesting line. Next match, we have the Azumarill lead, and a lot of times with the Azumarill leads, you'll see Double Ghost in the back. So if that's the case, your Medicham really doesn't have any play in the back. So kind of how I like to play this matchup is I just sacrifice the Medicham in the front and like come in with my Noctowl to get a good farm in. But the opponent shields this, and they actually have to throw a move or else I'm going to reach another Ice Punch. And I do. So this is going to put the Azumarill pretty low, and I bring my Noctowl in, and they instant swap into their what is this thing? I'm just gonna wait for the name to come up. Surfetch. Oh my god. That's crazy. But here I'm shielding because it could be like a Brave Bird potentially, or a Night Slash. Even a Night Slash would hurt a lot. And they CMP me on this one, and I kind of make a mistake there clicking the move. Like I should have just shielded and farmed down to have energy for whatever's in the back, but it's a little too late there, so I am forced to throw the move, and they're gonna go ahead and bring in their Skarmory. So a little bit of a rough situation to be in. Like this game is going to end up being pretty close because I threw the energy on the Surfetch there. Also a little bit unlucky on the opponent's side. Like if they had just stayed in, then they would have had more favorable alignment against me. Like they would have had their Skarmory on my Noctowl and the Surfetched on my Diggersby, but they didn't want to go down, I guess, which, like, I don't know why they did that, to be honest. Like, it was just a complete misplay, because they could have also just chipped my Noctowl with Ice Punches, or not Ice Punches, Ice Beams from the Azumarill, but at this point I bring my Noctowl in to take this Sky Attack, and I'm just going to hope that my next Fire Punch will KO the Skarmory here, and honestly at the time I didn't know whether this would or not, but it just barely did enough damage and we're able to take that game. So yeah, pretty strong team. 180 ELO gain in 4 sets, but kind of a disclaimer, like I have like played this team quite a bit in the past. Like I played it a lot last season and was able to hit legend with it, so I'm pretty comfortable with the matchups here. And also, like, low-key I'm kind of smurfing out here because like my ELO really shouldn't be this low but it's tanked in recent times, so like your performance with this team might not end up being the same, but nonetheless it's a very strong team, and if you learn how to play it properly you can definitely climb a lot of ELO with it. And 2 resources, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, are Home Slice Henry and Rise to Occasion. So if you want to learn how to play this team like at a high level and learn various matchups and climb a lot of ELO, then I would recommend you check out Rise's video in particular, since he had a pretty comprehensive like deep dive video on it, which was like 40 minutes long. So go ahead and check that out. And yeah, definitely highly recommend this team. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.